It's a play I first came across at university, so quite a long time ago now, and I really liked the style of it. I liked the gentle politics of it, the power shifts really, and the ways people manipulate others, use language to play their own game, and sometimes you're not always absolutely clear what that game is.
My character is Joseph Gross. I'm the managing director of this slightly surreal company. I'm arguably the sane character in the play. I come in after a weekend into the office to find that everything's changed, and it would appear that virtually everybody in the office apart from him knows what's going on.
So I'm playing a character called Mr. Ballas, who is a rather unpleasant, kind of slimy character. He's the deputy managing director at the beginning of the play, and he's responsible for introducing Tidy, which is an artificial language to be used in office communication. And throughout the play, Mr. Ballas sort of wheedles his way around and sneaks his way into power and into the managing director's seat.
I play a teacher. He's quite an eccentric character. He's probably the only character in the whole play that actually fully knows and understands Tidy. It's been quite difficult to learn because it's just gobbledygook. It doesn't make any sense.
My character is the chairman, and she's called Helena, also known as Nellie. She's a pawn, really. She doesn't know what her job is, what her role is. She just likes bossing people around. I think she thinks she's efficient, but she isn't really.
I play Otto, who's the head of the translation centre. I think he's a bit of the office slob, really. I think it quite suits me. He just does what he wants, when he wants.
I'm playing the part of Alex Savant, who is the graduate typeist in the translation centre. He's arrogant, he's a bit of an upstart, and has sort of chauvinistic tendencies, especially towards the young secretary in the translation centre.
My character is Maria, and she's a secretary to the translation department. I think she goes through quite a bit of a journey, really, because she's quite obedient to begin with, but then later on she kind of grows into her own.
I'm playing Hans, and I think he is great because he is just this ridiculously vain slacker who just manages to get away with doing nothing. He's ridiculously patronising to the people who are higher up. He spends most of the time taking selfies and doing his hair.
I play Mr. Thumb. He's a super eager clerk, one of the very few people who's absolutely desperate to learn this new language. And of course he illustrates the type who's unquestioning, a yes man, who makes it easy for sort of buddies like Mr. Ballas to get away with murder.
I play George the staff watcher. I live in the walls, observing what's going on and making sure that everyone sticks to the rules.
There's quite a lot of comedy involved, quite black comedy, I suppose, quite dark comedy. The play was written in the mid-1960s, but there is almost a parallel these days, you could argue, with perhaps email and sort of office communications almost taking over the organisation and reducing the actual human interactions.
It's very similar to where I work. There's lots of receiving and sending of emails which don't seem to have any purpose or dubious origin, so it's all very familiar to me.
I think there are things that are recognisable in the play for anybody who's ever sort of had a job, really. Perhaps one of the messages of the play is that in some cases the sneakiest, most manipulative character gets his way.
I work in a kind of hierarchical office environment, so I very much recognise everything that's going on in the play. I live it on a daily basis, really, and I think it's as true today as it was back when the play was written.
Something about bringing theatre out into the communities, using library venues, all sorts of places like that. I'm really quite passionate about myself anyway. I think it's really important to get as many people as possible from the community to experience theatre and live art in general. The fact that we're putting it on in what turns out to be election week is also interesting. We might have very different audience reactions from the Wednesday night to the Friday night, depending on exactly how the power game has changed.